Hi everyone, it's Jenny here, and welcome back again to another episode of, I don't even know what I'm gonna call it yet. And please excuse my background. I'm in my brother's room, but I don't have anywhere else to film right now. But I really want to share with you guys these 6 tips that you guys can start applying when you're applying for jobs. And I can guarantee you that if you follow these 6 tips, your probability of getting hired is a lot higher. And I use these 6 tips whenever I'm applying for jobs, and I have never been to a job interview where I didn't get the job. So I want to share this with you guys, and that way you can have more confidence when you are applying for a job. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so my number 1 tip is have an effective resume. If you already have a resume, you might want to revamp it. Use words that are not very simplistic. I personally use myperfectresume.com. If you sign up, I believe the first month is free, but obviously if you decide to keep it, it's $24.95 a month. But you can just use that 1 month free trial in order to revamp your resume or create a new one. One thing is that I would say is keep your resume to very minimal, not too many pages. I think the most that you want to have is 3 pages. Even that is very long. And if you've had jobs that you've only been for like less than 6 months, I recommend do not even include that, because mostly employers want to see is the time of your the time that you've been in a job. Or are you a job jumper, or are you like stable when it comes to a job. So that's my number 1 tip. Have an effective resume. Keep it to a very minimum. Use words that are very professional, and do not include jobs that you've had for just a month or 2 or 3 or less than 6 months. I wouldn't recommend for you to put it. Number 2 is, I'm sorry, I keep looking down because I have my notes over here. Number 2 is, obviously they liked your resume, which obviously if you have a really good one, they will call you. So when they call you to set up an interview, you have to sound very confident. So when they're calling you, you are already selling yourself on the phone. So you want to talk not slowly, but you want to talk very clearly. You want to sound confident. One thing that I also advise is make sure to at least ask 1 question before you hang up, and you always want to address them by their name. So when I'm talking on the phone and I forget their name, like I just politely ask them what their name is. It's just more personal that way, and that way if you address them by their names, they address you by your names as well, and that's kind of creating connection. So number 3 tip is how you present yourself. Professionalism is really big. There's a lot of competition out there when you guys are applying. It's not just you that's applying for the job, so you got to make sure that you look very presentable when you go for the job interview. I like to wear business casual clothes, and you want to make sure that your clothes are steamed or ironed, hair is put together. You don't want to have like crazy hair color, crazy hairstyle when you go in a job interview, especially if it's like a bigger company. Also for women, I recommend that you don't wear any nail polish or clear polish or nude nail polish. You want to make sure that you use those instead of like bright colors. Keep your makeup to very minimum. Typically the employers want to see you very natural. So that's that for men. Obviously your shirts are tucked in. You can never be overdressed when you guys go for an interview. So I know some people are like, I don't know what to wear for interviews, but if you want to wear like a suit and tie, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, you can never be overdressed. Okay, so my number 4 tip is when you shake hands, make sure you have a firm grip. When I interview people, I definitely look for that because that kind of shows confidence. So when you are, obviously meeting with an employer and you guys shake hands, make sure you have a very firm grip when you're shaking the hands. And if they don't reach out their hands, I typically would just reach out my hand. That's a sign of professionalism. And yeah, just have a firm grip when you are shaking someone's hand. Number 5 or 5th tip is do not be afraid to ask questions. When you guys are in job interviews, an employer would usually say at the end, like, do you have any questions for me? And it's very good to have knowledge on the company that you're applying for and ask questions about that. Obviously, you want to ask questions that's related with job or whatever it is, like growth opportunity or whatever it is that you want to know. Make sure that you stay on topic. Avoid asking questions like, how long have you been, I guess it's not too bad, but that's just so common. Like, it's so expected when someone says, how long have you been in the company, what do you like or not like about the company? Make sure that you are really prepared. So what I like to do is, before I go in interviews, I go on the website and just kind of get to know what the core beliefs are of the certain company or an owner of a business. So you want to make sure that you know that first. Preparation is key. Honestly, you don't want to go on a job interview and not even know about the company you're applying for. That is so embarrassing. So yeah, those are just some of the tips and tricks. So let me just kind of summarize it. So first is have an effective resume. Number 2 is to sound confident on phone interviews or setting up interviews. Number 3, make sure that you're very presentable. Use business casual clothes if you want. You can never be overdressed for a job interview or anywhere, actually. Number 4, have a firm grip when shaking employers' hands. Number 5 is do not be afraid to ask questions at the end of interviews. And number 6 is to do some research on the company that you're applying for, have knowledge of what their core beliefs are, and I guess that is it. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more tips and tricks that works out for a lot of people, but these are just the things that work out for me. And I can guarantee you that if you just do these little steps, they're so minimalistic that you it should be natural already, but some people don't even really think about it. So I can guarantee you guys that if you apply some of these tips that I've just told you on your next interview, your probability of getting hired is much, much higher than your competitor. So yeah, if something else works out for you guys that I didn't include, just comment it down below, and it could just help someone else out there. So yeah, let me know. I will see you guys later. Bye bye.